हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू मनु लॉ क्लासेस। आई एम गौतम दीक्षित। आज के इस वीडियो में हम नवंबर 12 2021 का डेली हिंदू एनालिसिस करेंगे। टू एक्सेस द वीडियो ऑफ डेली हिंदू एनालिसिस प्लीज सब्सक्राइब टू मनु लॉ क्लासेस। आज के जो कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ हैं, वन इज रिलेटेड विद चेन्नई, द सेकेंड इज रिलेटेड विद तमिलनाडु फ्लड, then we have some news related to epic, then india's ndc which is very important। इसके ऊपर एडिटोरियल भी आया है। नेशनली डिटरमाइंड कंट्रीब्यूशन, कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशंस भी हम इसमें देखेंगे जो आपके एग्जाम के लिए काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। फिर इंडिया ने जो 5 नए कमिटमेंट्स किए हैं एट COP26 एट ग्लासगो, वी विल सी दैट ऑल्सो। देन देयर इज वन एडिटोरियल रिलेटेड टू petroleum prices and how the additional excise duty imposed on that and cess imposed on that or surcharges imposed on that is not going into the coffers of the state government and they are losing the revenue over there. So these are some of the news for today. So let's start the news. The first is about the Chennai. So there is intense rainfall going on in Chennai which has claimed now 14 lives in Tamil Nadu. So as we can see, हमने पहले भी पढ़ा था कि साउथ ईस्ट बे ऑफ बंगाल में there is a low pressure depression which was traveling towards the eastern coast of India and it was about to make landfall in Andhra Pradesh, southern Andhra Pradesh. So it hit the Tamil Nadu coast near Chennai between 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and it led to intense rainfall. Okay, and prior to its landfall, यहाँ पे landfall का मतलब क्या होता है? Landfall means when any cyclone when they hit the land area. So cyclone always move from ocean or sea area or water area towards land area. Once they move towards land area, तो उनका जो एनर्जी है वो धीरे धीरे कम होने लगता है and after a certain time they die out. Now we have an editorial also related with this. Now the editorial is season of flood. So over here it has been discussed that why the urban flooding is taking place. 2015 में भी चेन्नई में काफ़ी ज़्यादा फ्लड आया था और अभी भी ये फ्लड आया हुआ है. So we will see that one reason is northeast monsoon wind. So what is northeast monsoon wind? So during winter India is under the influence of northeast monsoon wind which travels from land towards sea. It is a dry wind but it pick up the moisture when it travels over Bay of Bengal. Then it gives rain only to the eastern coast and that also Tamil Nadu coast or Coromandel coast. Tamil Nadu coast is also known as Coromandel coast. Please note it. The second is the formation of depression. यहाँ पे depression का मतलब होता है low pressure and this low pressure is associated with cyclone. So the formation of the depression in Bay of Bengal which we just now did, it crossed the coast near Chennai yesterday. Now the Madras city as such has not received so much rainfall, but the suburbs like Tambaram and Red Hills, they have received over 22 centimeter of rainfall only in last 4 days. So it is like very heavy rainfall within a very short period of time and that's why it leads to urban flooding. Now if rainfall is the only reason for this urban flooding, so the second paragraph is very important. So see, the crux of the problem is the issue of drainage. Drainage का मतलब water कौन से पाथ से फ्लो करेगा, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ड्रेनेज. सो नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन अर्बन एरिया, जो नेचुरल ड्रेनेज हैं, जो नेचुरल रिवर्स हैं, दे आर बीइंग कैप्चर्ड फॉर मेकिंग बिल्डिंग्स ओवर देयर. सो ओवर हियर द अर्बन सेटिंग वी आर ऑब्जर्विंग दैट देयर इज अ श्रिंकिंग ओपन स्पेस. जो ओपन स्पेस होता है वो श्रिंक हो रहा है, वहाँ पे बिल्टअप एरिया बन रहा है, वहाँ पे बिल्डिंग्स बन रही हैं. तो उससे क्या होता है कि जो वाटर पर्कुलेट करना चाहिए ग्राउंड में ताकि फ्लडिंग रेड्यूस हो, वो पर्कुलेट ना करके वो फ्लो करके लो लाइंग एरिया में फ्लडिंग ला देता है. द नेक्स्ट इज द गैप बिटवीन द कवरेज ऑफ द ड्रेन्स एंड दैट ऑफ द सीवर लाइन्स, देन एजिंग ड्रेन्स एंड सीवर नेटवर्क्स. दिस आर द कोर एरियाज इन द कोर एरियाज ऑफ सिटीज. दिस इज वन पार्ट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम. सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम क्या है? एंक्रोचमेंट और ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन उस एरिया का जो वाटर फ्लो को या नेचुरल ड्रेनेज, सिटी के नेचुरल ड्रेनेज को हार्म करता है. So though the city is blessed with few rivers such as Coombe and Adyar, and number of canals including the Buckingham Canal. So all these water bodies, if they are properly maintained, they can be effective flood carrier. Flood carrier का मतलब होता है कि since these canals and rivers they are natural drainage, so water can easily flow into them, and then that extra water can flow into sea and the urban area can be saved from flooding. But क्योंकि हम बिल्ट अप एरिया बढ़ाते ही चले जा रहे हैं और एनक्रोचमेंट करते जा रहे हैं, नेचुरल ड्रेनेज लाइंस पे भी हम कंस्ट्रक्शन कर रहे हैं, सो दिस हैज़ लेड टू अर्बन फ्लडिंग not only in Chennai but most of the metro cities in India. The next news is about India's NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution. So ये COP26 के रिलेशन में बात हो रहा है. पहले हम देखते हैं कि NDC क्या होता है. So see this paragraph. NDCs are voluntary targets that countries set for themselves, which describe the quantum and kind of emission cuts they will undertake over a fixed year, so that they can contribute to reducing the impact of global warming. तो मतलब जो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है NDC के बारे में जानने की ज़रूरत जो है वो ये है कि इट इज़ वॉलंटरी एंड इट हैज़ अ टाइम लिमिट. ओके, सो नाउ इंडिया का पहले NDC था आफ्टर द पेरिस क्लाइमेट एग्रीमेंट. नाउ इट हैज़ बीन अपडेटेड. नाउ इंडिया हैज़ द 5-fold प्लान to counter the climate change. Now what is this 5-fold plan? So first is India's non-fossil energy capacity will reach 500 gigawatt by 2030. पहले ये टारगेट 450 gigawatt का था, अब इसको 500 gigawatt कर दिया गया है by 2030. The second is now the country is going to meet 50% of its electricity requirement with renewable energy by 2030. पहले the target was 40%. The next is the country will reduce its total projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. ये एक नया ऐड हुआ है. Fourth is that India is going to cut the carbon intensity of its economy to less than 45% by 2030. पहले ये 33 to 35% था, अब इसको इस emission cut को 45% कर दिया गया है. If we will look at the ARC report, ARC6 report, assessment report 6 of IPCC, so it had already said that if the world wants to stop the global warming or rising temperature and restrict it to 1.5 degrees Celsius, so developed country have to take the deep emission cut of around 45%, that also by 2030 based on 2010 level. So that is very important benchmark set by IPCC, that what level of emission cut has to be taken by the different countries. The next is the country will achieve net zero emission by 2070. Now what is this net zero emission? So देखिए इस पैराग्राफ पे फिर से इसको अच्छे से पढ़ो. So see, net zero is when a country's carbon emissions are offset. Offset मतलब जब नलिफाई किया जाता है by taking out equivalent carbon from the atmosphere. मतलब अगर 2 यूनिट कार्बन एमिट हो रहा है तो दो यूनिट कार्बन उसको नलिफाई भी किया जाएगा, so that emissions in balance are zero. ठीक है, इसका मतलब क्या है कि नेट ज़ीरो एमिशन का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि कार्बन एमिशन बिल्कुल होगा ही नहीं, होगा, बट जितना होगा उसको न्यूट्रलाइज भी किया जाएगा. ओके, एंड अचीविंग नेट ज़ीरो बाय अ स्पेसिफिक डेट मीन्स स्पेसिफाइंग अ ईयर, ऑल्सो कॉल एज पीकिंग ईयर. मीन्स व्हाट इज़ द मीनिंग ऑफ पीकिंग ईयर? कि उसके बाद जो एमिशन है वो धीरे धीरे कम होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. नाउ इंडिया हैज़ सेट वन कंडीशन फॉर अचीविंग दिस टारगेट. इंडिया ने कहा है कि मेरे पास 5-fold प्लान है, बट इसको अचीव करने के लिए आई नीड फंड, आई नीड फाइनेंस. नाउ इंडिया इज़ नॉट सीकिंग $100 billion फंड फॉर adaptation and mitigation. Now India is seeking $1,000 billion fund for adaptation and mitigation and to achieve its 5-fold plan. Now let's move to the editorial related with this topic only. Now over here this article is giving you that what has happened at Glasgow COP26, what are those 5-fold plans of India, which is the India's new NDC given by India at COP26. And then this editorial goes on discussing that this target is like achievable, and the author is suggesting that India should have committed more than that. So we will now just look it over here. Now see India's new target. Okay, details perhaps varying in an updated NDC. Now see, one point you have to remember, that India has announced its updated NDC, but India has not yet submitted its updated NDC. So again we are just doing the revision from the first page. The first is reducing emission intensity or emission per unit of GDP. ये भी important है. What is the meaning of emission intensity? So the meaning of emission intensity is emission per unit of GDP by 45% in 2030 relative to 2005 level. अगर IPCC की हम बात करें, so IPCC suggests the deep emission cut of 45% by 2030, but not relative to 2005 level, but relative to 2010 level. The second is कि हम emission cut of 1 billion tons of carbon करेंगे. The next is 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel installed power generation capacity by 2030. The next is 50% electricity generation from renewable sources by 2030, and the next is net zero emission by 2070. Now before we discuss this, let's discuss that what India has not committed to. ये भी important है. So यहाँ पे देखिए that first India has refused to join over countries, to join over 110 countries to declare to end deforestation by 2030. So India has not joined the 110 countries who have declared that by 2030 they will end deforestation. Along with that, if we see the India's this 5 pledge which we just now did, that it does not include any target for forest and tree cover, and we already know that the tree cover in India is currently decreasing. The second is that we know about the global methane pledge. आज हम foreign affairs में भी देखेंगे कि China and US they have also agreed to work on global methane pledge. There are many countries who are joining this global methane pledge, but India has not joined any global methane pledge. Now why global methane pledge? Because methane is also a greenhouse gas and it is more potent than carbon dioxide, and it has to be reduced. So global methane pledge of 100 nations which aims to reduce emission of potent greenhouse gas, that is methane, by 30% by 2030 from 2020 level. तो अगर एग्जाम में पूछता है कि ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लेज का टारगेट क्या है, so the target is to reduce the emission of short lived but potent greenhouse gas, that is methane, by 30% by 2030 from 2020 level. Now these two things India has not joined, but India has launched infrastructure for resilience island states, IRIS. This is also very important. This is an Indian initiative. जैसे कि International Solar Alliance is also an Indian initiative. Along with that, infrastructure for resilient island states is also an Indian initiative which aims at providing technical knowledge and financial assistance to small island nations with the help of developed countries. Okay, now अब हम इसके बस important points देख लेते हैं क्या क्या डिस्कस हुआ है. तो यहाँ पे ऑथर गोज ऑन सेइंग दैट अगर हम एमिशन रिडक्शन की बात करें कि इंडिया ने टारगेट दिया है कि बाय 2030 द एमिशन रिडक्शन टारगेट विल बी बाय 1 billion. Okay, so if you will see that India's current annual emission is around 2.8 billion tons and it is projected to reach about 4.5 billion tons in 2030. So if you will just see the pledged reduction, it will be only 20% from comparing favorably with several developed country targets. Okay, now what other Prime Minister's speech has covered? That Prime Minister has said that the railway will achieve net zero target, means Indian Railway will achieve net zero target by 2030. Then they will cut 60 million tons annually if they start achieving net zero target. Then LED bulbs, light emitting diode bulbs, they will cut another 40 million tons a year, and 60 plus 40 will lead to reduction in 1 billion tons over 10 years. Now we have the goal of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy installation by 2030. तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का पहले से ही गोल है कि 175 गीगावाट हमें 2022 तक इंस्टॉल करना है. ओके, अगर हम आज की स्टेटस देखें तो सिर्फ सोलार और विंड एनर्जी की अगर हम बात करें तो इंडिया हैज़ द इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी ऑफ 101 गीगावाट. इसमें हम हाइड्रो और न्यूक्लियर पावर को नहीं ले रहे हैं. बट if we add hydro and nuclear power which are the part of renewable energy, so the current India's installation is 150 gigawatt or 40% of the total energy installed. ठीक है ना? So it is like almost achievable by 2030. The next is more than 12 crore due for second dose of vaccine. So if we will again update our figures. So what our figure is, so the first dose of COVID vaccine population Okay, so 79% of the adult population, not Indian population, only adult population. So 79% of the adult population have received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Then 38% of the eligible population has got the second dose. Now, so you can see that in India the gap is very high between the first dose and second dose. So hence, to bridge this gap, you will see that around 12 crore people are there who have still not received second dose of vaccine. So in order to improve the coverage of second dose of vaccine, the Har Ghar Dastak campaign has been launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The next is CPC resolution cements Xi Jinping's key position. So this is very important. So we have already discussed this news that plenum was going to be held, 4-day plenum, which is an annual meeting of Communist Party of China, and it will be followed by a Communist Party of China Congress, which is held after every 5 years. And in this Congress, Xi Jinping, the incumbent president, is going to seek the third term presidentship of China, and his role will be consolidated. Second, and there will be many functionaries of CPC who are going to retire, and he will be appointing the new officials. Okay, now for the third time in the history of China, or in the history of Communist Party of China, a resolution was passed. The first was passed during Mao Zedong, the second was Deng Xiaoping, and now third was passed during Xi Jinping's. Now what is the importance of this resolution? So we will see that this resolution, which has been passed by CPC plenum, it is the third resolution on history passed by the party. The first was passed in 1945 during Mao Zedong. He passed a resolution that heralded a turn away from Stalin's influence, means the influence of Communist Party of China to be away from Stalin and imbued with Mao Zedong philosophy. Okay, now the first resolution, which was passed in 1945, okay, it established Mao Zedong thought. Okay, and in 1981, then Deng Xiaoping, he passed a resolution that marked another turn away from the excess of Maoism. Maoism मतलब यहाँ पे जो Mao Zedong thought लिखा है उसी को Maoism कहते हैं. So away from the excesses of Maoism and the one-man personality cult, means turning away from the one-man personality cult to the reform area. Now what was the importance of the second resolution? It launched China's growth and propelled it towards becoming the world's second largest economy. Now the second resolution, which is also called as Deng's resolution, it acknowledged that there was some mistakes which were committed in past during Mao leadership, such as Great Leap Forward. What is Great Leap Forward? Great Leap Forward जो है वो चाइना का सेकेंड 5-year प्लान फ्रॉम 1958 to 1962 को हम ग्रेट लीप फॉरवर्ड भी कहते हैं. ये एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन बहुत बार आता भी है. सो ग्रेट लीप फॉरवर्ड वाज द सेकेंड 5-year प्लान ऑफ चाइना फ्रॉम 1958 to 1962. Now why it is controversial? Because it introduced agricultural collectivization in China. The second was cultural revolution that led to millions of deaths in China. Now what is the significance of third resolution? So see, थर्ड रिजोल्यूशन का सबसे बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि ये जी जिनपिंग का पूरा कंट्रोल पार्टी के ऊपर एस्टेब्लिश करता है. नाउ जी जिनपिंग इज अ कोर फिगर ऑफ द कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ चाइना. नाउ ही इज रेफर्ड एज जी जिनपिंग थॉट ऑन सोशलिज्म विद चाइनीज कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फॉर न्यू एरा. हिज आइडियोलॉजी is called as Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristic for a new era, which embodies the best of the Chinese culture and ethos of present time. Now the significance is that it establishes Mr. Xi Jinping as among the party's tallest leader after Mao and Deng Xiaoping. Now Sikh pilgrim group to visit Gurudwaras in Pakistan next week. So it is talking about the Kartarpur corridor. So Kartarpur corridor, it connects Dera Baba Nanak from India. So Dera Baba Nanak is in Pakistan. So this corridor connects India to Dera Baba Nanak. So Sikh persons or any persons from Sikh persons from India, they can visit Dera Baba Nanak without having visa. Now This Kartarpur corridor, it is the outcome of the Delhi-Lahore bus visit during Atal Bihari Vajpayee time, and it was considered as something like very akin to uh, unification of Berlin and West Berlin and East Berlin, or West Germany and East Germany. Now, Jairam moves privilege motion against minister. What is the meaning of privilege motion? So, members of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, if their privileges, which is provided by the Constitution of India, if that is not, if that is broken, or that privilege is not protected, so they can pass a motion that is called as privilege motion against any minister. So this is the case that Ministry of Culture has appointed former member of Parliament Tarun Vijay as the chairperson of the National Monument Authority. So Jai Ram Ramesh, who is the Congress chief whip of the Rajya Sabha, he has moved the privilege motion against Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy. Now, no fresh virus variants of concern in India according to INSAGOG. So, where INSAGOG is a consortium of 28 laboratories, and it is involved in sequencing the coronavirus variations in India. So, it says that the Delta and its variant, which is Delta variant, is B.1.617.2 and AY.X. They continue to be the variant of concern in India. Okay, but other variant of concern is not a variant of concern in India. For example, alpha, beta, gamma, these are not the variant of concern in India. अगर हम डेल्टा सब lineage की बात करें, so they are denoted by AY.X, where X ranges from 1 to 25. This nomenclature is also called as Pango nomenclature. Pango nomenclature. Okay. Now over here, one strain is very important. AY4.2, this is the subvariant of Delta, and it is responsible for rise in cases in United Kingdom. Now, the Nepali army is going to establish its own defense university, which will be called as own defense university. Okay, so we will see that from the last day news that General Sharma, or Prabhu Ram Sharma, who is the Nepal army chief, he was in India and he received the honorary rank of General of Indian Army and Wall of Honor. Now, Xi warns against Cold War in Asia Pacific. So he was speaking at Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, which is the membership of 21 APEC countries, Asia Pacific countries from ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand, USA and South American countries, and Korea, Japan. So over here he was saying that the Asia Pacific should not be the hotbed for or flashpoint for another Cold War. Okay, so now over here we just need to know about APEC. So APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Council, it is the membership, it has a membership of 21 members, and it comprises of nearly 3 billion people and 60% of the world's GDP. But if you will just see the memberships of APEC, so there is a growing tension between India and China. Okay, there is growing tension between China and Taiwan. Already there is a South China dispute between Asian countries and China. Then after US has announced a new trilateral security alliance called as AUKUS, so already there is a problem going on related to Pacific region. So that's why now Xi is warning that there should be no Cold War in Asia Pacific. Now, South Africa's last apartheid president de Klerk died. Now, what is apartheid? Apartheid means racial segregation. So in South Africa there was an apartheid government, and this apartheid government followed the policy of racial segregation. You must have heard that Gandhiji also protested against this apartheid culture or apartheid way of ruling the country in South Africa. So this apartheid government, the last president who ended apartheid government in South Africa, and he released Nelson Mandela from jail, and he lifted a ban on African National Congress, so F.W. de Klerk, and he also shared a Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 with Nelson Mandela. He died recently. So this is like one liner news. Clat Elet में बहुत ज़्यादा ये news आ जाते हैं. Now, who are the two journalists who have received Nobel Peace Prize this year? Please write me in the comment box. Now, China US to increase climate cooperation. So now see, there is contention between US and China, but there is also a cooperation on climate, especially related to emission of methane. So US and China both are the largest emitter of methane. Now they have agreed to increase cooperation on reducing methane emission. The next is the dispute going on between Belarus and Poland related to Kurdish migrants. So now Belarus strongman leader Alexander Lukashenko, now he has said that if Belarus is imposed with new sanctions, then the gas supply to Europe will be cut. Now this is very important. 600 space travelers and counting in 60 years. So a SpaceX rocket carried 4 astronauts into the orbit, and including the 600th person to reach space in 60 years. So how many persons have went to space in last 60 years? 600. Who was the first to go in space? Yuri Gagarin in 1961. The next is again a one-liner. Which of the Gulf states hold naval exercise with Israel? So United Arab Emirates and Bahrain are holding their first joint naval exercise with Israel. So these two countries, United Arab and Bahrain, they have signed an Abraham Accord with Israel. Now 5G spectrum auction likely by April-May. So 5G spectrum, which was scheduled to be held at the end of current fiscal year, means last quarter of this financial year, now it is going to be held in April and May. Now a tax burden that attacks the federal rights of states. Now over here in this article it has been discussed that if we will to understand this article, we have to first understand Article 271 of the Constitution. So in short, Article 271 says that Parliament may at any time increase any of the duties or taxes which are referred to in Article 246, which are referred to in those articles, except the goods and services tax under 246A by surcharge, and this amount will be going to the consolidated fund of India. Matlab this amount, these surcharges and additional duties will not be shared with state. Now the goods and services which are not the part of Goods and Services Act, which comes under 246A, all those goods can be additionally taxed by the central government. Okay, now if we will see, there's just petroleum, alcohol, they are not coming under GST. Now the central government can put excise duty, additional excise duty and surcharges on petroleum. So if we will just see that center, what is the quantum the center is levying, so it is around rupees 31 as an additional cess on petrol, rupees 33 as an additional cess on diesel. And now what is happening, that this additional fund is not being shared with center, with the state government. So state government कौन सा टैक्स लिवाई करती है पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स पे या डीजल प्रोडक्ट्स पे, that is value added tax. Now state government always tax the sales of the petroleum products or crude oil, and central government it levy excise duty on the production of petroleum oil. So what is happening over here, if we will just see the overall tax of petroleum and diesels, we will see that 95% of the total revenue or total tax from petroleum product is comprising of additional excise duty on petroleum and cess, which is not being shared with the center. Then the basic excise duty, which central government shares with the state government. Okay, it is just for 4.8%. Sorry, basic excise duty is 4.8% of the total revenue. Out of this basic excise duty, only 41% of the basic excise duty is comprising of divisible pool, means which can be shared with state. So it has raised the question, especially GST, that the fiscal federalism is in danger. The second the author is highlighting is about relevance of RNR, revenue neutral rate. Revenue neutral rate का मतलब था कि we will keep the GST rate at such a level that there should not be any shortfall in state's revenue. That rate was earlier decided at 16%, then it was brought down to 11.3%. Again, states started suffering because of GST. Now, this is the interview of Pranab Sen, who is the country director for the India program of the International Growth Center, and he was previously chief statistician of India. So, in this article, there is an interview where he is saying that demonetization, which happened on November 8, 2016, when rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes were no longer a legal tender in India. So, he is discussing that demonetization followed by introduction of GST and then COVID-19 pandemic has greatly damaged the MSME sector, because the large corporates, they survive, they hardly use cash, but MSME sectors, they rely on cash for their payments, to for procuring inputs and for giving salaries on cash. Now there is one program which has been discussed over here, that program from Tamil Nadu government, Illam Thedi Kalvi. It is the DMK government has launched this program, and it is about that school teachers will be taking education to the doorsteps of school children, and it has been criticized on various by various people, especially that if school education is taken to the doorstep, then it is very high probability that girls will stop coming to the school. So government should rethink that. So that's all for today. We will meet again tomorrow with a daily Hindu analysis. Till then, have a nice day. Take care. Thank you.